I'm going to be honest. I didn't even want to come on tonight.
Dark Side, you want to talk about Sexton? Are you going to try to start beef with Coop and Sexton, Dark Side?
No. I haven't got a chance to talk to him in a little while, so I figured I'd have to do it on your show. Two things real quick, Coop. In the heat race, when Chase took out your front wheel and you went down, how much, knowing you, I feel like that was a lot of motivation for the main event. Like, I know how those things fire you up. So I'd like you to talk about that, and then I want you to answer. Usually, when a track has big whoops, you're not as good as the other guy sometimes. That's your weakness, it seems like. You figured it out. You figured out a blitz and then kind of a double-double or something at the end that was working. Did that break Kenny, in your opinion? Does that break him for the season?
I guess I answer your first question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a racing incident, no big deal, but at the same time, yeah, I was pissed. I mean, as a racer, anytime you get taken out, intentional or not, you're not pumped. I mean, and for me, being in the position I'm in, it's important to get those good gate picks and stuff. So yeah, I was super fired up, and honestly, I think that kind of helped me in the main event because I was, the Raj and Ian came to me like, hey, just let it go. And I just told them, I said, all right, I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to go out here and I'm going to win this main event and that'll be my redemption. Mm-hmm. And, so they were all pumped on that, but yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, I think for me, I fuel off of situations like that. I feel like I'm in that area. It's pretty good. So, for me, it was definitely as bad as the heat race went for me riding and then getting, taken out. It was like almost took my mind off of how bad I rode to like, screw this. I'm going out there and I'm going to try to kick some ass. So, yeah, it worked out. And then, I feel like for me this year, I really did try to improve the whoops, and I'm not the best guy in them by any means, but I feel like I've improved a lot. And obviously I'm good when I can jump them, but I feel like I'm still quite good now, even with them getting bigger. Or so far this season, I don't feel like I've been hindered in the whoops like maybe I have been in the past. And so for me, I think it's good to, like you said, ironically, passing Kenny in the whoops is something that I've probably never done. So, it is pretty cool. But I agree. I think for the guys, they used to kind of bank on me struggling in the whoops and knew, hey, if there's big whoops tonight, he's not going to be in the mix. And I think that's not necessarily the case anymore. So, I mean, it's nice to have that kind of in my arsenal to obviously still plenty of improvement on that end, but to be able to be competitive and especially Kenny, I mean, he's exceptional in the whoops. So I think it is good to have improved that this year and be able to be in the mix, no matter what kind of tracks we get, or big whoops, small whoops, jumpers, whatever.
We had James and Chad blitz whoops like nobody else. Jeremy, of course. Then Marvin comes around. He jumps whoops like nobody else. Coop, you're bringing the jump blitz program to many sections, and it's impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's it worked out. I mean, like you're saying, I think it's getting to where the tracks are just getting rough, and it's tough. But I think, like you said, those guys back in the day had some incredible speed in the whoops, but there was times too where I think it just kind of depends what the track does. I mean, sometimes it's faster to, I don't know how, but sometimes it is faster to jump. But like I said, I think for me this year, being able to have the ability to do both is good.
I think, Chad's going on Instagram about, blitz. He's jumping, DV and Chad are yelling and screaming on social media about blitzing whoops and nobody wants to blitz whoops, blah, blah, blah. I think what they forget or what they don't remember is the four strokes are beating the hell out of whoops, right? And these things are not blitzable by halfway through the main or early. Like, they're just not. And these guys, I think they forget about that. Like, guys, that two-stroke days, whoops stayed that way all night. You're right, but
and I feel like Go ahead, Coop.
Yeah, go ahead, Kate. Or I feel like they're also the unevenness of them plays a huge factor in that. I mean, at least for me, like, you know, when they're fresh and like you're saying in free practice and even in the first few practices, yeah, we don't jump them because they're still good enough to blitz. But like you're saying, there's the amount of bikes we have on them, and I think what people don't think about too is back in just a few years ago, everything was laps.
Yeah.
Well, now that it's time, what people don't realize is you're adding 2 to 3 more laps in a heat race, times that by 4. You're adding 2 to 3 more laps in an LCQ, times that by 2, and then you're adding 5 to 10 more laps in a 250 main, as well as a 450 main sometimes.
Yep.
So you do the math on all that, you're adding 40 or 50 laps to a track in total, and that's back in the day, it's 40 or 50 laps less than what they did. And yes, 2 strokes and, you know, the evolution and whatever you want to call it. But I think that's a factor that a lot of people kind of tend to overlook as well.
Yeah, I agree. Dark Side, anything else?